Hello and welcome to Chinese Novel Audiobook. Explore our playlist for more captivating novels, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new audiobook. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 81 Karl Ma. Although Saul has restrained his aura, the oppressive feeling caused by his body size alone is already shocking enough. Even knowing that Thor will not attack himself is the same. Can I sit on it? Of course, hurry up or it will be dark soon. Saul urged, and Althea sat up, feeling a soft feeling on her back. Alcoa is very light in weight. For Saul, who can use divine power at will, it is better to wear a thick dress. It feels good to carry a beautiful girl on your back. Saul's flying speed is much faster than that of Alguaya. Although he deliberately controlled the speed in order to enjoy the two-person world with Alguaya, he still quickly saw the distant destination. Saul changed back to human form in midair, and Arya's 640 also landed steadily through a backflip. Did the clothes on your body change? You said this is the clothes transformed from my dragon scales, very convenient. Saul tugged at his collar, his tone a little smug. There is still a short distance to go. If you continue to approach, your own dragon will easily attract the attention of the Ionians. Located in the heart of the continent, Presidium is one of the holiest places in Ionia. Many people even travel long distances to study in famous schools here, and here is also the birthplace of many martial arts schools. Different fighting techniques have been passed down from generation to generation under the maintenance of the Ionian people. He definitely wants to visit this kind of place, and the people who will appear there must be better than the common people in all aspects. Of course, he is not planning to bring in the new member Kaolali for the time being. Take a look first, and if there are particularly excellent children, write them down first, and let them develop directly in Roland after giving them favors. The big deal is that the update frequency is slightly lower. Presidium is much more magnificent than the previous towns, and there are even militia guards entering and leaving. There are also more people carrying weapons or wearing strange clothes along the way. These are members of different schools, and you can see several every few steps. But I have to admit that this place is much more lively than the few small towns I passed by before. But compared to this place, Althea still seems to prefer the small town before. Too many people is not a good thing for her. It's quieter there. Not long after walking, a militiaman soon stopped in front of them. Sir, Lord Karl Ma wants to see you. The soldier bowed to Saul respectfully. Due to Karl Ma's order, he showed extra respect to Saul. Karl Ma. As one of the few heroes in Ionia who has not been summoned yet, did you expect to meet in Ionia in advance? It sounds pretty good. Karl Ma herself is definitely an upright person, so you don't have to worry about any problems when you go to see her. Althea was still dominated by Saul, and the two followed the guard through layers of guards, and quickly climbed up to the mountain where Karl Ma was. I won't go in, Lord Karl Ma is already inside the two. Why does Karl Ma build the church at such a high place? Is it because he wants to test the perseverance of the people who come to visit? What a waste of time. On behalf of Ionia, I welcome your arrival, Lord Aurelion. I am sorry that I was unable to greet you in person. You can just call me Saul. She is Althea. I just wanted to go to Ionia on a whim this time. But you, I didn't expect to recognize me. How could I fail to recognize Lord Chuang Shishan, not to mention how many people in our Ionia have been summoned by you? While explaining, Karl Ma personally poured a cup of hot tea for Saul and Alguaya. Karl Ma behaved gracefully, with a neither haughty nor humble attitude, which made it impossible to find fault at all. Of course Saul wasn't here to find fault. Don't be so restrained, tell me about Ionia's current situation, or what you need. Karl Ma organized the language briefly, and soon introduced the current situation of Ionia in an orderly manner. She is not just the spiritual symbol of Ionia. As the incarnation of an ancient soul in the present age, it has experienced countless reincarnations, and each time it will inherit the previous memories, and it also possesses powers that ordinary people cannot understand. She has truly dedicated her all to Ionia, and she has been working hard for this land forever and ever. Everything about Ionia is in her mind, and she doesn't even need to think about it when Saul asks. In the future, other countries will gradually be established, and you may not need a little help from Ionia at that time. I will, for the prosperity of VA Roland. Hey, Don't be so serious, Ionia will ask you to take care of it in the future. Of course, I will grow up with Ionia. Since you're all here, I'm here to bestow favors on you. Saul suddenly thought of this. It's all here, don't add a favor to Karl Ma, in case you forget about it when you go back. Give a favor to let the other party develop slowly in Ionia. It will be more convenient to call up at that time. Open black lens bracket Karl Ma close black lens bracket. LV1. Strength. 10. Durability. I0. Dexterity. 10. Agility. 10. Mana. 10. Open black lens bracket magic close black lens bracket. Mind flame. Open black lens bracket skill close black lens bracket. Old soul. Reincarnation. Inherit 0.1 wisdom and ability from previous life. Limited by one's own body. Can only be triggered when in Ionia. As expected of Karl Maya, this skill is too strong. For the people of the lower world, it is outrageous to be able to reincarnate from generation to generation with memories, and she can still inherit abilities. Although the latter two restrictions are somewhat harsh, in the face of reincarnation, nothing is too much. Sure enough, Karl Ma is still suitable to stay and manage Ionia. If there is anything that needs your help, I will call you to Olili. Quote. Yes, then I will wait for your call. Karl Ma finally had a moment of pause. Sure enough, only the topic about Ionia could cause her mood swings. Chapter 82 The Man Who Comes Back Late. It took a lot of time to go down the mountain, and it was almost night when we returned to the town, so if we want to continue shopping, we have to go to the night market. I don't know if there is such a thing as a night market in Ionia now. Saul dismissed the tempting idea, though. I should go back to Orario first. Saul and the two walked to a deserted corner. The place in Ionia is really huge, and this kind of quiet corner is easy to find. Are you going back? Alcoa asked a little bit unsatisfactorily. Such a short time is not enough for her to know this brand new world. It's a little too late, let's call it a day. Saul said with some regret. Although Ilari and Val Roland are two different worlds, the time of both sides is unified. Even though Saul has arrived in Val Roland, the time on O'Leary's side is still passing at the original speed. Time passes at exactly the same speed. In other words, it is already night for Olili now. You don't have to worry about such embarrassing things happening. Originally, I was planning to go to Bandle City, but now it seems that I can only look for opportunities next time. 19 inches. Bandle City. That's right, it's the place where Lulu and the others were born and raised, it's a magical land. Is that so? I would also like to visit if I have the chance. Alfia smiled at the corner of her mouth, with some expectation in her tone. There is a chance, but I have to go back today, or I will be scolded by Riveria. Saul still has self-knowledge, he just sneaked out here in a moment of excitement. If Riveria finds out that he is not there, then things will be bad. However, it will definitely be found. Just like a man who sneaks out to play with his wife behind his back, he always has a little fear about going home. You still no come back. He returned to the familiar lounge through the portal, and saw Riveria sitting on the bed as soon as he walked out. The opponent's legs were crossed together, and his sharp eyes scanned Saul and Alfia back and forth like a scrutiny. A powerful aura suddenly spread out from Riveria's body, and even Alfia, who was of a higher level than him, felt guilty for a while. In the subconscious of the family members, Riveria is like Saul's official palace. When other people get along with Saul, if they are bumped into by the other party, they will be somewhat embarrassed. We just went out for a walk and didn't do anything. Feeling a little depressed atmosphere, Alfia took the initiative to explain. That's right, there are special circumstances this time. The new country has just been built, so I took Alfia to inspect it first. Saul waved his hand vigorously, but it's a pity that Riveria's expression didn't change much this time. You continue to say, you see I believe it or not. With such an expression, today's matter seems to be doomed to be unkind. Alfia, go back and rest first, you have been messing around with Saul today. Alfia's explanation was a bit golden, and Riveria took the initiative to send him away. Then I'll go back first, I'm really tired from walking today. Feeling the weird atmosphere in the lounge, Alfia walked towards the door without hesitation. However, you have the nerve to say such a clumsy lie. You are LV8 adventurer, you still have the LV8 of the recovery rune, you told me that you are tired of shopping. You see, I believe it or not. It's a pity that Alkia has made up his mind. A dead fellow Taoist will never die a poor Taoist. Completely ignoring Thor's desperate eyes. The speed advantage of LV8 points was stretched to the limit, and he rushed out of the lounge in the blink of an eye. Only the door that had just been repaired not long ago was left crumbling in the air. It's a good thing to do. If the gate is broken, people in the family may come to watch the excitement, and Riveria will be inconvenient to have a fit. It's a pity that things didn't develop as Saul imagined. After waiting for a long time, no melon eaters appeared at the gate. Why don't you eat melons now? How about your keen sense of gossip? When it should take effect, it's like a dead machine. Help! Your Lord God is in a big crisis. No need to wait, I have already told the family members that I need to discuss some matters with you alone. Riveria unhurriedly changed her foot and continued to raise her legs. The way everything was under control made Sol's heart tremble. That smile was anything but friendly. The preparatory work has been done so well, this is a little bit of nothing to say. This sermon seemed inevitable. You can go out if you want, but at least you have to say hello to me. Riveria put her hands on her hips, pinching the soft flesh on Sol's waist with her angry fingers. Hiss. Preaching is preaching, and it's not like he doesn't listen, so why did he have to make a fuss? The power of LV7 made Thor couldn't help taking a breath. This is really pinching, this piece of meat must be green. It seems that Riveria has a lot of grievances in 90's heart. Do you know how long the whole family has been looking for you? I almost went to the guild to find you missing. I was wrong. Saul resolutely gave up the excuses he thought, and those who know the current affairs are the best. Next time, no matter where you go, you must let me know, even if you leave a note, you understand. I see. How was your visit to Ionia this time? Did you find anything? Next time I will show you to see it. There are many martial arts in Ionia, and I think the children of the family can learn them. Martial arts are different from skills and magic, and there is no harm in learning more about this skill-like ability. Moreover, the martial arts handed down by Ionia are not the kung fu of a three-legged cat. Sounds like a good idea, but how should I let them learn Ionia's martial arts? That's no problem. When the time comes, I'll go and bring back some catalogs of martial arts, and let the children practice accordingly. Saul already had a countermeasure in mind. There are some so-called secrets in the martial arts of some sects, and it may be a little troublesome to get them. But all these troubles are left to Karlma by Saul. With the face of this boss, there should be no major problems with his plan. Chapter 83 5 years in a flash, preparing for an expedition. Time flies, and a few years of effort have passed by in a flash. In a few years, you can do a lot of things, or you can accomplish nothing. Saul vividly demonstrated what it means to accomplish nothing. It may be too much to say that nothing has been achieved, and it may be a stable development, but there are indeed no ups and downs in life. That is to say, by absorbing a part of magic stones occasionally, coupled with the divine power that he cultivated painstakingly, to speed up the construction speed of Roland. After a trip to Ionia, Thor now has another place where he can pass the time, and his life is not boring. Every day when I am bored, I can go to Roland to monitor the work progress of my parallel consciousness. The development of the family tends to be stable, and there is no need for him, the main god, to do anything, and Riveria can handle everything in an orderly manner. He even stayed in Ionia for several months, and declared to the outside world that he had traveled outside Olali. Watching DanMachi become more and more stylish day by day, I felt an inexplicable sense of accomplishment in my heart. At the same time, the heroes of DanMachi were summoned a lot. Although the days of peace are boring, the members of the Saul family also enjoy the benefits of peace and have been growing slowly and smoothly. In a few years, the level of these heroes has surpassed most adventurers in Orario. Except for the new heroes, those DanMachi heroes that set and the others summoned later. Even people like Heimerdinger, who spend most of their time on scientific research, have basically reached the level of LV4. The fastest upgrades are combat madmen like Set and Kled, who have been upgraded to LV5 some time ago. But generally speaking, Aegina is the one who upgrades the fastest. As Sol's proud daughter, she has reached the peak of LV4 in just 5 years of becoming an adventurer. It sounds not as fast as Seti and the others, but you must know that Aegina is really starting from scratch. Set and the others at least had battle experience and skills that could be digested, and the upgrade speed at the beginning was terrifying. Agina's upgrade speed is almost the same as riding a rocket. The side effect of the rapid development of the family is that it is no longer possible to pretend to be a pig and eat a tiger. Although Riveria is still only LV6 on the surface, the rest of the people are basically one level down. Who made the other family members really weak? Obviously he has worked so hard to control it, so his family is still on the list of the 3 major factions of Orario among the adventurers. Those guys from the Ganesha Familia really didn't live up to expectations. Sure enough, he still couldn't do the outrageous Hermes and directly report LV2 and LV1 to all family members. In the house, Saul quietly enjoyed the massage of the 2 fox beauties. After getting along for such a long time, Chunji's introverted little problem has improved a lot. I have to say that this little fox really has the potential of a maid. This kind of job of serving people is simply self-taught. You really enjoy it. Lord Riveria. Chunji stood up nervously, and picked up the clothes around her to block her turbulent waves. You can serve people, but you will still be shy if you find out. Ari beside her didn't care, and even waved to Riveria enthusiastically, as if inviting her to join in. 2 completely different personalities, really good. Didn't you go to the guild? How about it? What troublesome things did those guys say? It's mostly about the bomb, making sure we pay our taxes this year. Those guys, just keep staring at us. Aren't there a lot of shops selling bombs now? The technical content of Zig's bomb itself is not very high, and as time goes by, some family members have gradually figured out how to make it, and it is no longer an exclusive business. However, Zig's research speed is fast, new products are often put on the shelves, and he is the first person to eat crabs, so the income of the store in Babel is still considerable. After all, our shop has the highest income. Also, these are small matters, the people in the store can handle such things, right? Our family has not carried out an expedition for a long time, and people from the guild asked us when we were going to take action. Expedition, the expedition of the Loki family has passed for some time. It's been almost 2 weeks, but the Loki family has a relatively large number of expeditionary troops, and it should be about 50 degrees now. What do you think? Going on an expedition now may run into the Loki family. Saul yawned lazily. Are you worried that the people who exposed the Loki family will find out that we have falsely reported the floor? They were able to enter the 50th floor, and they should have already dealt with Balur. Then go ahead. You can handle the personnel arrangements and material preparations. Remember safety first. My family is now very rich, even if I don't rely on the dungeon, I don't have to worry about money. If possible, Saul would like to convert his family into a commercial family, so that he would not be obliged to go on an expedition. It's a pity that they now have the title of one of the 3 major factions of Olali. Such a powerful combat union does not allow them to change the nature of their families. I will make arrangements as soon as possible, and I can return to Li Qian's Lacan as soon as possible. Riveria saw that Saul was not in a high mood, and the other party seemed to be like this before every expedition. After all, the expedition also means that most of the family members will be transferred away. The Saul family is now strong, and there is still a gap in the number compared with other large family members. Every time there is a large-scale event like an expedition, most of the family members will go together. Seeing that there are a lot of people, the front, middle and rear teams are divided into 1 point, and the sum of each team is almost the configuration of a larger adventurer team. But now the Thor family has a relatively rich personnel reserve, and they are no longer worried about the frontline and treatment personnel as before. The problem of treatment still needs to be a little worried. There is an assistant with healing ability in the family, even if you add yourself. Mao estimated that each team can't guarantee it for 1 person. Chapter 84 Expedition. In contrast, the avant-garde, which was originally the most efficient, is now very rich. But there's nothing wrong with needing to regroup. It has been a long time since the last expedition, and many people's levels have been raised again. Medicines and the like can be obtained quickly as long as you have money, but the most troublesome thing is spare weapons and armor. Although Bobby will go with the team, it is impossible to wait until after the dungeon to build all these things slowly. It is inevitable to prepare a batch in advance. In addition to the stock of the family members, you need to find the forging family members to make some as soon as possible. The Sol Familia usually have very little equipment in stock, so they need to prepare a lot. Even better if there is a pharmacist. Let Shen and Yang En lead the rear team, and Shindella and Poppy also have to stay behind. There shouldn't be a big problem with these few people. The back team is mainly doing logistical work, blacksmiths and healers must be the most in the back team. Although it is much safer than the front team that opened the way, but after all, with too many supplies, the safety of this team must be guaranteed. If the supplies are taken away, the expedition will be forced to end. 343. For the front team, of course Kled and Set will be the fighters as the forwards. In addition, they need to be equipped with some mage support. After all, 10 parts of the supplies must be transported to the safe floor. The squadron is led by himself, and other combat forces can be slightly less. With the experience of previous expeditions, Riveria slightly modified the previous list. After thinking about it in her heart and confirming the feasibility of the list, Riveria handed it to Liet, who was following her. When not taking risks, Veronica's sister has become Riveria's little assistant. The former introverted little guy has grown up completely, and now he is also an adventurer at the peak of LV3. There is only one great achievement missing, but Veronica rose to LV4 first after the previous expedition. This expedition may allow the child to upgrade smoothly. Are you going on an expedition again? In the lounge, Ari was playing with Soul's ear listlessly. After Riveria came here before, she has always looked like this. Ari is a character that does not compete with the world, but his talent is excellent enough, and he has now been promoted to CBAE LV4. Every expedition must take a long time, and Ari seems to have some love for home in his bones. Didn't Riveria say that this expedition will come back soon? The members of the Loki family have already cleaned up the front floor, and the speed of progress will be very fast. I hope so. Don't worry, when Riveria's level is higher, the expedition will not necessarily require so many people to participate. Looking at the current Freya family, it is possible to start an expedition with Oda alone. A person's action is fast and does not require so much preparation. But that was a pure expedition. No matter how strong one person is, carrying weight is a big problem, and there is no way to carry the spoils. It's a pity that Riveria is a mage, and it's not impossible to go on an expedition alone. As long as you don't go into too deep floors, there will be no major problems. But it will definitely cause a sensation afterward. It is impossible to hide such a big event from the guild. As that's so, I put the quilt and looked forward to it. In a blink of an eye, it was time for the expedition, and the members of the expedition team of the Thor family gathered at the entrance of the dungeon. It was only at this time that we could see all the members of the Sol family. Although the internal atmosphere of the family was good, it was somewhat similar to the Freya family. Most of the members act in small groups on weekdays. It is very difficult for even Sol to see the entire family in one go. For this reason, he came to the expedition team today to see the members of his family. Unexpectedly, in just a few years, there are so many people in his family. Usually it doesn't feel real. Looking at these subordinates, I really have a sense of accomplishment. As expected of me, we will rest on the 18th floor this time, and then rush to the 50th floor in one breath. Yo, you little ones, all rush with me. Entering the dungeon, Kled, who was the first echelon, couldn't wait to activate his big move. The people moved along the airflow left by Klein far faster than expected. When Riveria led the team through, there were still a lot of magic stones and scattered materials on the ground along the way. These are the masterpieces left by the first echelon when they passed by. In order to pursue speed, they will directly clean up the monsters along the way, and these Shenkang magic cloths and materials are naturally no one cares. They are going to go deep, where there is no time to care about these worthless things. Maybe it will be left to the adventurers who come later to pick up a bargain. Boost. Riveria said something in a low voice, and the people behind them immediately quickened their pace. It's obviously only the upper class, why spend so much energy on the road? Can you take care of the short-legged Yordle? Lulu, who is in the second echelon, sighed helplessly, and quietly gave herself a run quickly, and her short legs walked very fast. The speed of reaching the 18th floor was much faster than expected. Faced with this situation, Rivelia decisively changed the floor that she walked down to the 28th floor. For them, there is no difference in difficulty between the middle and upper floors. If you walk more in one breath, you will be closer to the 50th floor. The next action, don't use up your magic so easily, no matter what you have to wait until after the 38th floor. Originally, it was easy to go at the upper level, and coupled with such a fast speed, several low-level members in Yordle almost lost their temper. There is no danger in the middle layer, and there is no need to speed up the passage. Relatively, it can play more roles in the deep layer. I see. You know it's useless, Keenan, you come to the first echelon tomorrow, show me cret. Do not worry. After the task was arranged, Riveria let everyone present go back to rest. For the next whole day, the expedition team moved slowly in the deep layer. With the experience of previous expeditions, Riveria and the others can find the most accurate direction. This saved them a lot of time, and they quickly passed through the 49th floor where Valoran was. The masters of several floors along the way have not been refreshed, and the group's actions have been exceptionally smooth. It took just over 2 days for the first echelon to reach their goal of 50 floors. These people of the Sol family are also old acquaintances, and they will basically be stationed here every time the family goes on an expedition. But this time, the security floor already has the first guests. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 85 Meeting on the 50th floor. Standing at the door, on a raised rocky mountain in the distance, a temporary residence composed of continuous tents and wooden houses caught their eyes. There is also a clown flag flying in the air in the center of the station. Then they are members of the Loki family. They have already reached the 50th floor. Kelly rode on Scar's back, blocking the sun with one hand and looking at the Loki family's residence in the distance. That is the place with the widest view on this security floor. In the past, when they came to expedition, they would choose to camp there, but it's a pity that now that place is occupied by someone. Isn't this expected? After all, there are 3 LV6s, so it's not surprising to be able to reach this level. Shall we say hello? Say hello. Why don't you find a place to camp if you have time? I don't want to be crowded in a camp with members of the Loki family. Set left a few words and walked towards the forest with a few people. Looking at the direction the other party was leaving, the dozen or so people left looked at Keenan. Veronica, you stay here and wait for Master Riveria and the others to come over. Let's go to SETI to help find a place to camp. It's not that Keenan resists using the same residence with other families like Set, but mainly because their family has a lot of secrets, so there's no need to merge with the Loki family. The relationship between their families is not very good. After finding a flat piece of land, the group quickly started logging. In the distance, the sentinels of the Loki family noticed the crowd at the entrance of the 49th floor. It is unrealistic for so many people not to be discovered. Captain. A team has appeared on the 49th floor. Judging by the flag, it should be someone from the Sol family. How did the Sol family members come here? In the center of the Loki family's residence, several cadres are gathering to discuss the next exploration mission. Hearing the scouts report, the white-haired werewolf Bert couldn't help asking. Of course they are also here for the expedition. I remember that the Sol family has indeed been on an expedition for a while. Jarvis helplessly rolled his eyes at Bert, wondering why this werewolf would ask such a low-level question. They have already reached the 50th floor, can they still come here to play? What's more, the scouts also said that it was a whole team. Apart from the expedition, the Sol family didn't seem to have formally gathered a team. But, why did you choose this time to go on an expedition? Don't they know that our family is on an expedition? Instead of worrying about the other party's purpose here, why don't we visit them, just as I haven't seen Riveria and the others for a long time? Finn interrupted the speculation of his teammates with a loud voice. He and Riveria are quite familiar with each other. They are both the head of the big family, and they have many opportunities to come into contact with each other. After making a decision, Finn didn't plan to make the scene too big, and only brought Leifia a LV3. Leifia was still scammed by that Rocky guy a few years ago. At that time, Saul went to play in Roland, so he didn't notice the stubble. When he came back, the raw rice was cooked. The main reason is that he really didn't have the heart to check the newcomers who came in and out of Olili every day. At first he thought Leifia would come directly to his house. After all, Riveria is already in her family, who knew that Loki would have been intercepted. But this is not a big problem, my mage is really not lacking at all. My precious daughter is more fragrant than Leifia. Captain Loki, I'm really sorry to let you go this way. Originally, we planned to visit you after Lord Rivria arrived. It's okay, I came too hastily. After the two interacted politely, the atmosphere between the two gradually became awkward. After all, the camp has not officially started to be built here. Could it be that the head of the mighty Loki family is invited to sit on the tree stump? It's still a fresh tree. That is to say, Finn is more discerning. In order to avoid embarrassment, he found a topic and took the initiative to ask the other party about the recent situation of Olali. Not long after, Rivria and her party also arrived at the station under the leadership of Veronica. Looking at the temporary station that was still an open space, a group of logistics personnel immediately started to move. Set's first echelon didn't know how to build a house, and being able to help clear an open space is already very good. Asking for flowers. After walking in, I immediately saw two people chatting in the middle of the open space. Finn, long time no see. It's been a long time since I saw Rivria. Why did you choose to start the expedition at this time? Is it to meet us? No way, the people from the guild urged us to complete the expedition mission. It just so happens that the members of the family members are relatively well organized recently, so organize one. I see. Listening to Rivria's explanation, Finn seemed to be deeply moved and nodded. But I couldn't help feeling a little envious. It is also the head of a big family, look at the head of the family. The expedition that so many people participated in, it is so rich to say that the organization is organized. No one knows how much money the Saul family has made, but their family residence is really beautiful. 0. Covering a large area, it is the center of Orari. But he was just envious, no one really dared to take the idea of the Saul family. Back in the day, every time Olali had a magic book or other rare props, they would basically be bought by the Saul family at a high price. This also caused many gods to be dissatisfied with the Saul family. However, after the Saul family defeated the alliance of several families by themselves that day, this dissatisfaction completely disappeared. That is a team consisting of 5LV5 and many middle and low-level adventurers. Rivria alone, magic, a war game of siege battles came to an absurd end. At the same time, it also left a huge psychological shadow on the gods watching this battle. What is the first magister of Orario? From then on, under the absolute suppression of force, who would dare to offend Saul as a young bird? You came just in time, our expeditionary force hasn't explored the depths yet, maybe we can cooperate for a while. Joint exploration, Rivria hesitated for a moment. To be honest, it was thanks to the Loki family that they were able to reach the 50th floor so smoothly. After all, they have never encountered the owner of the floor along the way. Forget about the joint exploration, but if you need anything, you can contact me. Rivria decisively rejected Finn's invitation. Chapter 86 I'm bald. Joint exploration sounds good. When the time comes, who will be in command? Moreover, there are so many smart people who lie about their levels in their team. Rivria doesn't think their acting skills can fool Finn's eyes. It's better to stay honestly, and when Finn and the others go back, they will return together. Rivria didn't plan to continue exploring further, and this time meeting with the Loki family was also to find a personal ID for them to reach the 50th floor. When the time comes, go back faster, and the guild can't find anything wrong with it. In the blink of an eye, the Saul family had already stayed on the 50th floor security floor for a whole day. On the other side, Finn, who has been on this floor for a long time, is ready to continue exploring downwards. However, when they were still preparing for action, a shrill scream of 803 came from a distance. The owner of the screams is LV4 of their family, Rahul, who is known as an extraordinary husband. The other party was assigned the task of checking the passageway to the 51st floor early in the morning, and the voice seemed to come from that direction. Something happened over there. There was no special order from Finn. Bert rushed out with a few cadres. Rivria, who chose to camp in an enclosure in the forest, heard it more clearly. Their location is closer to the passage to the 51st floor, and they can still vaguely feel the vibration of the ground. It seems that something is about to rush out from the deep inside. It shouldn't be, the 50th floor shouldn't be a safe floor, and there shouldn't be anyone on the deep floor. It didn't matter how long Rivria thought about it. In order to prevent emergencies, she quickly gathered her companions in the temporary station together. There are low-level adventurers in my team. If there is a loss here, it will be a lot of fun. Look there. At this moment, Lulu pointed to the cliff and shouted. I saw countless huge green caterpillars with strange patterns on their bodies climbing up from all directions. And in the direction leading to the entrance of the 51st floor, the sound of fierce fighting has already drifted towards them. There is no one else here, and it is obvious that the cadres of the Loki family are dealing with these troublesome bugs. Cinderella, Ari, Aurelia, you guys go to the entrance of the 51st floor to check the situation. Everyone else stay in the camp and protect yourself. The few people whose names were called rushed out immediately. Rivria is still going to see the situation of the Loki family. Although she doesn't know what happened, she believes what her eyes see. The monsters that have never been seen before have already broken into the safe floor, and it is obvious that something big has happened. They are like grasshoppers on the same rope with the Loki family now, so she still doesn't understand the reason why their lips are dead and their teeth are cold. However, she didn't take away many people, and stayed in place to be responsible for the safety of other companions. Rivria even put a defensive spell on those who stayed behind. The main thing is to be safe. After finishing the preparatory work, several people immediately rushed to the entrance of the 51st floor. It didn't take long for them to notice the members of the Loki family who were fighting hard. It is said that they are in a hard fight, mainly because the number of these green caterpillars is too many, and the members of the Loki family are all unarmed, and their weapons are gone. Is it to increase the difficulty for myself? Probably not. What should we do now? Go up and help. Of course, they're already here and we're sure to fight. I can kill so many bugs to my heart's content. While talking, Kled has already rushed out on Skarl. Go, 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 go. Single-handedly, he roared with the momentum of thousands of horses, and with the speed bonus of his ultimate move, Kled rushed into the pile of caterpillars without hesitation. The long axe was spun like a stick, and the green caterpillars that surrounded him instantly showed a bloodstain. From the cut wounds of these worm-shaped monsters, strange purple blood spewed out, instantly dyeing the entire axe blade with the same color. Be careful, don't attack those monsters with weapons. Finn, who was not far away, had already reminded him in time, but it was a pity that Kret rushed too fast. In the blink of an eye, the opponent had already killed 3 in and 3 out of the caterpillar opposing monster pile. The worm-type monsters in a large area nearby were cleared out of vacuum. Although very brave, but it is also a little too reckless. Finn thought that some problem children in his family were reckless enough in combat, but he didn't expect Rivria's family to be so outrageous. Suddenly, I felt that IC and the others were not so impulsive. It's hard work, Rivria. Kled didn't notice at first. An unpleasant smell came from his beloved weapon. Immediately afterwards, there was a sizzling sound on the axe blade, and with a burst of white smoke, the long axe began to disappear at a speed visible to the naked eye. The long axe that had been with him for a period of time was melted directly. After calming down, as the hormones in his body gradually faded, Kled noticed the abnormality on his body. The pain of flesh and blood being corroded made him frown, but Scar was not so strong under him. In unbearable pain, it lowered its head and led Kled out from the pile of monsters. When they returned to Rivria and the others, even the skin on their faces had been corroded by half, and the bloody appearance looked particularly oozing. As for the hair that was touched by the blood, it was not spared, and it suddenly became a member of the bald man. Scar didn't look any better than Kled, mainly because it was bigger than Kled, and the area splattered by blood was naturally larger. A few supporting companions behind hurriedly took out the prepared potion, and poured it directly, regardless of saving 2.8. The skin that had already rotted quickly recovered under a burst of green light. It's just that the lost hair doesn't come back. This bottle of panacea does not have the effect of hair growth. These damn bugs. I'm going to kill them. Are you going to kill them with your fists? You just quietly cover Shindella and the others here, and use magic to eliminate these monsters. Rivria held Kled down, and handed him a spare long axe. Of course it's not as good as Kled's original one, but who made his weapon completely corroded, and now he can only use this spare one to make ends meet. Moreover, Scar seemed to be frightened, and he didn't dare to rush into the worm pile for a while. Chapter 87 The Instantly Bankrupt Diona. Damn it, Scarl, you coward. Klein complained cursingly towards Scar, but it was a pity that the other party could not hear him at all. The neck was twisted directly to one side, looking absent-minded. Set, be careful of the blood of these monsters, don't get it on your body. Riveria's gaze focused on the few people standing on the front line. And Set, who is unarmed, is undoubtedly the most dangerous one. Don't worry, everything is under my master's control. And not far away, Seti had joined the defense line formed by the cadres of the Loki family. He was slightly better than Kled, at least he didn't directly break into the pile of monsters. And he fought with his own fists, so it wouldn't make the scene so bloody. Especially after seeing Kled's lesson, Seti became a little more careful. As much as he likes to fight, he's not a Kled-like fighting idiot. The arrogance accumulated in his body quickly condensed in his hands, and Seti's aura suddenly increased a lot, and even the members of the Loki family who were busy fighting against the enemy couldn't help but look over. Is this going to be big? The next moment, Seti opened his hands and grabbed the two insect-shaped monsters closest to him. The opponent's head was pierced by Set's 5 fingers like paper, and Purple's blood was blocked by the gold halo covering the palm. The plump body was waved by Seti, and the bodies of the two monsters were spun like windmills. The rest of the big bugs flew upside down at the moment of collision, and a large area around them was instantly emptied. The two worms in his hands were overwhelmed and dissipated in the air with black smoke, but Seti still had an expression that was still unfinished. The eyes that seemed to be red eyes swept around, and soon locked on an area where there were a lot of bugs. Immediately, he picked out an exceptionally fat lucky one, and grabbed it with both hands. Carrying this huge body, Seti jumped into the air in an instant. Amazing. Like a missile, it landed precisely on the spot that Seti had identified earlier, and the lucky ones who were selected did not even have a chance to turn into black smoke. Countless flesh and blood mixed with gravel flew around like hidden weapons. A large crack appeared on the ground under Set's feet. A large area was completely emptied, leaving only a huge pothole in the center. Damn it. This guy got the limelight again. In the distance, Tion bit her lower lip unhappily, and a fierce light suddenly appeared in her eyes. This Amazon didn't hold back his hands any longer, and broke off the tentacles that bound him, and pierced the monster's back with his little hand. The stench of blood burned her skin, but Tion seemed to feel no pain. Indignation and chaos are instantly activated, and the attack power will increase in the event of injury. It is simply a crazy warrior skill. I always feel that there will be a common language between her and Olaf. With a quick move, the black tiger pulled out his heart, and the fist-sized tan magic stone was grabbed out. Ha ha ha, the garbage should go where the garbage should go. In just a few seconds, more insect-type monsters filled the positions previously vacated by Seti, even more than before. As soon as he stepped out, a small pit appeared under his feet, and the nearby cracks spread out a little. The arrogance burst out unscrupulously, and Gold's arrogance seemed to go straight into the sky. Deliberate punching. The energy accumulated for a long time burst out in one breath, and the fan-shaped area in front was once again swept away. Wow, it's really outrageous to watch it a few times. Standing beside Tiona quietly observed Seshi's every move. Seeing that deliberate punch that was punched out, the spirit of complaining in my heart finally couldn't help it. How could anyone throw such an outrageous punch just by virtue of arrogance? After staying in the family for such a long time, the two sisters have some understanding of the perverted abilities of these teammates in their family. A pervert like Set who manipulates his pride is already very close to the people. But your master is the best. Thinking of Yongan's extremely chic style in battle, Tiana accidentally became addicted to it again. Tiona, what are you in a daze for? Not far away, Tion woke up her sister in dissatisfaction. This guy stayed by Yong-en's side every day, and he didn't know when he would fall into his own fantasy. Why is my sister such a love brain? But this kind of thing is rare for Amazon, and his sister has grown up. The age has grown. In short, Tion will not interfere with the opponent's actions, but the premise is not to be distracted during the battle like now. When Tion came back to her senses, two monsters had rushed to her. The body waved the big double blades in his hand like a conditional launch, but he began to regret the moment he reacted. It's a pity that there is no reason to go back on the attack he swung. Under Tiona's desperate eyes, the big double blades scraped away the bodies of the two monsters in front of her. Dark purple's blood was evenly sprinkled on the big double blades. Ah! My great double blade! The shrill screams attracted the attention of Tion and the others. Under the watchful eyes of many 173 pairs of eyes, Tiona's big double blades were gradually gasified from the beginning. Soon, the big double blades that were originally taller than a person were corroded to death. Everyone who witnessed this scene couldn't help but frown, and they had a deeper understanding of the corrosiveness of these insect-shaped monsters. Although Kled's long axe was also corroded before, it was corroded in the swarm of insects, and people outside couldn't see it clearly. Moreover, Diona's big double blade is different from Kled's long axe. This thing is a first-level weapon that the craftsmen use precious materials without sleep and restlessly forging. This kind of weapon will be corroded, so what about the ones in their hands? The first-level weapons are very expensive, and it is better to spend money to repair them if they are damaged. This big double blade even omits the repairing process, just buy a new one. With the proceeds from this expedition, Tiona can't even earn the material fee for this big double blade. Just because of this knife, Diona's LV5 can be said to be born instantly. Aurelia, who originally wanted to rush up, immediately became honest. Looking at the situation, she doesn't really need her own strength at the moment. Her handed-down blade can't be folded in like this. To be on the safe side, I'd better just stay by Ari's side as a bodyguard. Chapter 88 Envious Finn. Idiot, I told you to be careful. Tion complained rather resentfully. Looking at the big double blade that disappeared without a trace, even she felt sorry for her own sister. That's 120 million farleys. This knife is too expensive. Who knew these bugs would be so troublesome, Wu Worm. Tiona just clenched her fists wanting to cry without tears, as if she was still savoring the feeling of the big double blade. It's a pity that I don't have anything now. But these insect-type monsters don't care about Diona's mood at this time, and the endless sea of insects is still swarming towards the crowd. Back off. Shindella's coquettish reprimand suddenly came from a distance, as if they had reacted to the magic wave from their guard mage, and dozens of fish that escaped the net slowly crawled to their side. Controlling the dark energy in the body, a bug in the distance was wrapped by a dark magic power and caught behind Shindella, and then smashed heavily into the middle of these approaching bugs not far away. Immediately afterwards, terrifying dark energy erupted from Shindella's body, and a wave of terrifying magic power appeared around her. Everything around was forcibly pushed out by the wave of magic power, and with Shindella's slight raising of his arms, as if endless darkness gathered around these monsters. Compress, explode, recompress. Repeating this step, while these monsters were wiped out by the dark magic, several purple-black dark magic balls appeared out of thin air on the ground. The number of dark magic balls is constantly increasing, and the weird energy inside makes the cadres of the Loki family involuntarily stay away. Although I don't know what it is, the energy inside is very bad. It's definitely okay to stay away. Finn, tell your people to retreat, backquote. Seeing the increasing number of dark orbs on the ground, Riveria reminded Finn beside her. I see. This is not the time to satisfy your curiosity. However, it is not difficult to judge that so many magic balls left on the ground should be preparations for some kind of magic. My energy is endless. As Shindella no longer suppressed the energy in her body, the pure dark energy rushed like a torrent. The violent energy is still under Shindella's control, and the endless dark magic balls rushed towards the waist that is closest to them. Different from the original game, relying on her strong control over energy, Shindella abruptly turned her big move into an AoE in the group. The nearby monsters fell down in large swaths like they were harvesting wheat at the same time. In an instant, the entire 50th floor fell silent, and a few fish that slipped through the net also followed their companions under the makeup knife of the Loki family. These members of yours are really amazing. Finn said to Riveria with a chuckle, seeing that the battle was completely on their side. Although it has been known for a long time that these members of the Sol family are good players, they never expected that they would be so powerful, and their growth rate would be so amazing. With so many monsters, they were all dealt with neatly. This Shindella alone wiped out more than half of her, and in the future she will grow up to be a mage not weaker than Riveria. The family also needs someone who can turn the tide of battle. Lei Fia's qualifications are very good, but she is still too young, lacks courage and experience, and needs some time to grow. It's okay, they gave me a lot of headaches when they first became members of the family. When you first become an adventurer, you will always be a little lively. Finn didn't care about this. He also wants to have this kind of happiness trouble. Captain. After the battle was over, Tion walked over with the dejected Tiona. The other party looked at Riveria pitifully. After the whole battle, she may be the one who lost the most. The big double-edged sword of 120 million Farley. Pat. Gone. No, there's another Kled, who's lost a chunk of his hair. Don't make a bitter face, I will find a way to help you reimburse some losses after I go back. Riveria patted the other party's head helplessly. The loss of 120 million fair would hurt anyone who put it on. But after all, it was damaged during the expedition, so it's no problem to use the family's small treasury to help her bear some of it. No way, who told his family to be rich now? Freedom of wealth is so capricious. Quote. I want a new axe too. Seeing this situation, Kret, who was not far away, raised his mouth out of necessity. As a battle madman, although Kled is the first in every battle, he has no habit of collecting spoils. He can be said to be the poorest one in the family. Let's talk about it when we get back to Olali. After sorting out the damage caused by the monsters, and waiting for some of the seriously wounded to recover, Finn took the initiative to find Riveria to say goodbye. They have no way to continue to stay on this floor. In the previous attacks by insect-type monsters, the strongholds set up at high places became targets and were severely damaged. Leaving aside the wounded, the supplies were almost completely destroyed. If he stayed any longer, he would have to rely on the northwest wind to survive, and now he had to embark on the return journey. For this reason, Riveria also enthusiastically provided some Li Deshao food and medicine to them. Originally, Finn wanted to invite the Riveria family to return to Orario, but was rejected. Facts have proved that it is definitely a wise choice for Riveria to leave a large number of people in the stronghold, and their garrison was hardly damaged in this attack. The main reason is that the Loki family's resident is in front, and the number of insect-type monsters that come to attack is not so many. Of course, the average level of the Sol family is relatively high now, and even those who act as supporters are mostly LVB and L4. And these LV3 and LV4 are exceptionally able to fight, and they can be strong players on their own. The Loki family does not have this configuration condition, and their cadres must be on the front line to stop the offensive of those monsters. The defense of the camp can only be maintained as best as possible. No casualties are already the greatest good news. Chapter 89 Elite Squad. After sending away the Loki family, the people of the Sol family directly recamped on the basis of the camp left by the Loki family. It saves a lot of effort. But today everyone is quite tired, so the matter of the expedition has been put aside for the time being. And Riveria also needs to weigh the gains and losses. It is not known whether the 50th floor is safe or not. After all, those monsters just broke in from the entrance of 51 Kong. Who knows what's going on in the deep layers, whether they're all overrun by bugs. There is even a nest of insects. Will these insects launch a second wave of attacks? Will they continue to invade the middle layer? There must be a problem, otherwise there would not be so many unseen insect-type monsters. In a state of uncertainty, Riveria is also not sure whether to continue exploring. At least before taking action, a scout must be sent to scout for information. And this suitable candidate is undoubtedly the ninjas like Keenan and Akali. Land's scout job has been completely taken away by Akali and the others in the past few years. 277 ninjas are not just good at assassination. You too, have you memorized the map? Inside the camp, Riveria looked at Akali and Keenan with some concern. The Sol Familia already had a map from the 50th floor down, and it was drawn during the previous expedition. The map that was gradually perfected by Riveria of LV7 acting alone after the 50th floor, and supplemented by Althea. It can be said that at present, Olali, apart from the guild, has the most complete dungeon map of their family members. Remember, everything is based on your own safety. Come back immediately after confirming the information. Seeing the two nodding, Riveria still reminded. After all, the amount I saw earlier was really astonishing. Both Akali and Keenan are ninjas who are good at assassination. Once you are dragged into the siege, it is very difficult to get out. The two of them went there for a few days, while the members of the expedition team spent a few days in peace on the 50th floor. It feels like camping on the 50th floor. Finally, Keenan and Akali returned to the camp quietly after a few days. Apart from looking tired from the journey, the two of them didn't have any injuries at all. How about it? From the 51st floor to the 58th floor, you can see the figure of the previous insect-shaped monsters on each floor, but there is no sign of them moving to the upper floor for the time being. Ever noticed where they come from? I didn't find it, but the magic stones of these worm-shaped monsters are very strange. They don't seem to be naturally produced in the dungeon. Why? While talking, Akali handed Riveria a magic stone with a strange shape. It is completely different from the original magic stone. However, Velia knew about this matter a long time ago. After all, the Black Tiger of Tion had already handed in the magic stone that he took out directly from his heart. And these worm-shaped monsters will prey on other monsters, as if they came out of a deeper room. Keenan calmly reported what he saw. One more thing, we felt something was wrong with the temperature there on the 58th floor. Akali seemed to have thought of something, and then Keenan added another sentence. Temperature. Theoretically speaking, the 59th floor should be in the glacier field. It is said that the water flow of the glacial lake everywhere makes it difficult to move forward, and the extremely cold air will make it difficult for the body to move. Is the temperature on the 58th floor very high? I didn't feel any air conditioning at all. I think there may be a problem on the 59th floor. After Akali finished speaking, she stood aside and did not speak again to affect Riveria's judgment. The tent, CCFB, fell silent, and under the watchful eyes of Akali and the others, Riveria frowned and thought for a moment. Do you want to take the expedition team to see the situation? Even if they just go back like this, when the news is passed to the guild, there is a high probability that they will arrange someone to handle it. This is a very real problem. There are only a few families in Orario who can reach the 50th floor, let alone the 59th floor, who will not go up. When the sky falls, a tall man needs to hold it up, and the Saul family is such a tall man now. Go and rest first, I'll think about it later. He sighed deeply. If he had known that he would encounter such a troublesome thing, he would not have come to the 50th floor. How good it is to fish in peace and order on the 39th floor, so there is no need to worry about these bugs. Of course, this is just a casual complaint. Even if she was really on the 39th floor, she would still come to the 50th floor after knowing about this. That night, all the members above LV5 of the Saul family were gathered outside Riveria's tent. Everyone sat around the fire in the middle. I'm going to organize a team headed by some adventurers above LV5 to go to the 59th floor to check the situation. Riveria slowly expressed her decision. After thinking about it for so long, she still couldn't ignore it. First go to the 59th floor to see what's going on, and then come back and think about how to deal with it. If the situation is not right, go back to Olali and find someone to help. Then do it. Set was the first to agree. I have no opinion. We all obey your orders, Lord Riveria. Yes. Riveria's prestige in the family is very high, and everyone soon reached a consensus. However, the candidates for the 59th floor still need to be selected. Keenan, Set, Yonggan, Chunji. After thinking for a while, Riveria read out the names one after another, but Tiona didn't hear her own name until the end. Tiona, who lost her handy weapon, was arranged to stay in the camp. After learning that she couldn't act with her beloved master, Tiona collapsed on top of her sister as if she had lost her dream. It's even more sad than losing the big double blade. Don't worry, just went to check the situation and will be back soon. Tion could only pat her sister's head lightly to comfort her. But the effect is not obvious. Why don't you let Tiona temporarily replace the supporter? The spare weapon will not have a great impact on the strength, and it can also protect Chunji's safety by the way. Maybe it was because of Tiona's resentful stare that she couldn't help but Yong'en, as a master, stood up and said something for her. Chapter 90 Through Train. His proposal was very pertinent, Riveria thought for a moment, and after seeing Diona's pitiful appearance, she nodded in agreement. In the end, Riveria arranged for a few other people to stay in charge of protecting the camp, and if there was an unexpected situation, they could return to the ground directly. With a few LV5s for protection, it shouldn't be a big problem for the cover expedition to return to the surface. This is a powerful team led by LV7, and even the supporters are LV5 adventurers. The only exceptions are Haruhime and Agina. Chunji is naturally because of the opponent's hack-like upgrade hammer, and Agina is purely because her magic power is strong enough to train the opponent by the way. For this reason, she also specially arranged for Aurelia and Tiona to protect them closely. It is difficult to find a second team like this in Olali. At the entrance of the 51st floor, Riveria still added a layer of defensive magic to everyone as usual, and the team started to act. Pay attention to safety, Kaiying will clear the way ahead. Riveria reminded according to the task assigned before. Kaiying with the shadow step is definitely the best choice to open the way. Starting from the 51st floor, you not only need to resist the monsters on this floor when you move forward. Also keep an eye out for attacks from layer 58. The 58 layer Paolong can let its attack penetrate through several layers to attack the enemies on the upper layer. Once you get hit, it's definitely not a joke. Kaiying immediately rushed to the front of the team, and soon his feet trembled, and the temperature of the ground also soared rapidly. Without the slightest hesitation, Kaiying started the shadow sneaking step, and his body turned into a phantom and slipped into the surrounding walls. The people following behind him immediately slowed down, and once the pillar of fire soaring into the sky appeared at the position where Kaiying had been standing before. When the flames slowly dissipated, a huge pothole appeared on the ground. Through the pothole, you can even directly see the big head of the Paolong that attacked just now on the 58th floor. What happened to Nar's anger? Hey! Nar roared, the hair on his body had gradually turned red. Although both can become giant Nar. Everything is developing as Riveria thought at the beginning. It's all on Nar. Following Riveria's order, the giant Nar appeared with a loud roar. A group of people immediately climbed onto the back of the giant beast, followed by Nar without hesitation and jumped down from the gap made by the Paolong earlier. The through train is coming. This is a shortcut to the 58th floor. During an expedition, a Yordle who did not want to be named fell through this kind of hole. After that, Riveria noticed this shortcut. Of course, if you want to take a shortcut, you need to pay a price. In this narrow space, once you are attacked, you can only carry it down, and there is no place to hide. Moreover, if it goes down like this, many monsters may be attracted, and all the monsters on the 51st to 57th floors will chase out from this passage. At that time, it may be necessary to face many monsters at the same time. It is several times more than the monster feast. During the fall, the people standing behind the giant Nar were also alert to the attack from below. The moment they noticed that the Paolong opened its mouth, Lulu waved the staff in her hand. Show cute_W. Accompanied by her delicate voice, the aggressive Paolong instantly turned into a dove, and the attack was naturally forced to cancel. But the falling speed of the giant Nar is getting faster and faster. Accompanied by a loud bang, the huge Nar fell to the ground, and the sound attracted all the nearby monsters. The wind floating in the sky, the fire wandering on the earth, at my most dangerous moment, I ask for your help, lend me your strength for a while, destroy the evil power, tear up the shroud of darkness, show the will of the dragon. The strongest combination, close black lens bracket. Also behind Nar, at the moment of landing, Aegina took out the flame and wind dance that she had prepared before falling. The blazing flames burned around a large circle enough to cover all the nearby monsters, and then the strong wind blew up, forming a circle of tornado to wrap everything around. The wind assisted the fire, and all the monsters within the range of the magic were instantly engulfed by the flames, but a magic had the effect of compound magic. Good job. Riveria praised Aina with satisfaction. Asking for flowers. This through train went smoother than expected, and the entire area near the 58th floor was successfully cleared. The ground is full of magic stones and dropped materials. Due to the deep relationship, the size of the magic stone here has also become extremely exaggerated. It is also slightly smaller than Goliath's magic stone. Of course, the price of these magic stones and dropped items is also very beautiful. Take a short rest, and then prepare to enter the 59th floor. After reaching the 59th floor, Riveria also noticed something was wrong here. As Akali said before, the temperature is too high, even at the entrance of the 59th floor, I can't feel any chill. On the contrary, several bulges protruded from the ground not far away, and the monsters on the 58th floor were refreshed. Not only that, as if they were summoned by these monsters on the 58th floor, in the big hole above everyone's heads, the monsters from the upper floors also rushed down together. The originally empty area was filled with monsters again in an instant, and even the air was densely packed with powerful monsters such as wyverns. Ready to meet the enemy. I can't rest now. They were surrounded by so many monsters, who still thought about resting. Aurelia stood close in front of Aegina. Even if an enemy sneaked up on her, she could protect Chunji in the fastest time. The mage troops began to show their strength. With the blessing of Riveria's skills, they shot down all the wyverns in the sky one by one. The battle didn't last long, and soon all the monsters attacking around turned into magic stones and fell to the ground. It's so lucky to have a lot of materials. Taking advantage of the rest time, Diona stepped forward excitedly and picked up the scattered materials one by one. This is the material dropped by many monsters after the 51st floor, each of which is valuable. You must know that after returning to Olili, she will have to recast the big double blades, and she is in a state of super short of money now. Yongan asked Tiona to be this volunteer, and many of them didn't mean to let her earn a little money. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 91 Entering the 59th Floor. Although it is the first time to act as a supporter, Tiona feels that she is about to fall in love with the feeling of picking up treasures anywhere. It's all money. Okay, let's pack up these trophies when we come back. If we take them away now, it will be inconvenient to move for a while. It was Riveria who dissuaded Tiona from her behavior. Oh. Tiona reluctantly put down the materials in her hand, found a corner and carefully stacked them together. Silently remember this location in your heart, and don't forget to bring these things back when you come back. Check your equipment. Get ready to enter the 59th floor. After all, this is still the 58th floor, and the strength of the refreshed monsters is not weak, so it is not a suitable place to rest. After a brief rest, Riveria continued to direct the actions of the crowd. As soon as you enter 607 and enter the 59th floor, what you see is a piece of green. Tall trees cover the sky. It looks like 10 safe buildings. Sure enough, something went wrong. Single quote. How did the promised glacier field turn into a big forest? The huge shrubs also make it more difficult for the team to observe. The range of sight is very small, and it feels like any place is suitable for hiding. Akali, find the way ahead. Riveria signaled the team to slow down, and by the way, threw out all the ninjas in her hands. If it weren't for the fear of scaring the snake, Riveria even had the idea of setting fire to the mountain. Destroy all the bushes and then consider dealing with the enemy. In this case, you can't even find the enemy. Be careful, watch your surroundings. The path they are walking now is also very strange. There is still a path that is enough for people to pass in this kind of place. Who left it, and for whom? When did the dungeon become so intimate? There are those insect-shaped monsters in front of us. Not long after, Akali returned to the team after collecting some information. Under the leadership of the other party, everyone quickly found a large group of bugs wriggling slowly on the ground. There is no end to the number of horrors at a glance, and it feels like there are more than what was discovered during the 50th floor invasion. They seem to have received some kind of call, and they are moving in one direction tacitly. Even if Riveria and the others walked to a place not far from them, none of them wanted to turn their heads to look at them. It is completely different from other monsters. Set tentatively stepped forward and grabbed one, and with brute force directly tore the opponent's fat body in half. Even so, the other bugs continued to advance on their own, completely ignoring the tragedy that their companions had encountered. Aren't you resisting like this? Seti shook it in disgust, although under the protection of Haoyi, there was no blood stain. Dispose of some first, so as not to be splashed by their blood. Riveria quickly made a decision. Regardless of whether these bugs fought back, they were monsters after all, so it would definitely be no problem to control the number. Since something is calling them, there might be a boss waiting for them in the depths of the 59th floor. In case you really want to fight these bugs later, it can be regarded as reducing the number of enemies in advance. With Riveria's instructions, the others stopped holding back and let go to clean up the central area one after another. Of course, there are previous lessons, and those who do it are very careful about their own safety. If you can do without a weapon, you can do without a weapon. Soon the entire worm-shaped monster team was divided by the members of this team. A large number of insect-type monsters dissipated in the air as smoke. But the number of these monsters is really too much, and there are still many bugs who escaped through their temporary defense line. The harbinger of the end, the white snow. Facing the twilight hour, wind up the closed light, the frozen earth blows snow all over the sky, 3 severe winters, my name is Al-Hash. Riveria cast a spell, and the monsters in the front row instantly turned into ice sculptures and stayed in place. The direction of the bugs was instantly blocked, and several bug-shaped monsters immediately began to crawl towards their companion's body. The reaction is quite fast. It seems to pass through this layer of obstacles by stacking arhats. However, it wasn't these things that made their scalps tingle the most. Behind the large army of insect swarms, there were countless insects following closely behind. It's like it hasn't been cleaned at all. How long is this line? These bugs are rushing forward like those who don't want money. Akali, who is assigned to estimate the approximate number of bugs, has not yet returned. And at this moment, an unknown location in the dungeon. Several people with masks on their faces and their whole bodies hidden in cloaks gathered together. There was something like a screen in front of them, and it played the video of the team led by Riveria blocking the swarm. Where did these intruders come from? It's a member of Soul's family. I heard that family has also started an expedition. I didn't expect them to be able to enter the 59th floor. Those guys from the Loki family wiped out Balor's relationship. What should we do now? Of course it is to eliminate those guys, who dare to spoil our good deeds. Don't say such stupid things, this team will never be able to keep them just relying on their combat effectiveness there. You need to hide that thing first, she is not strong enough now, if someone from the Saul family finds out, she will probably be punished. Let's do that, let the Saul family members play with those bugs slowly. Haha, so many bugs are enough for those guys to drink a pot. Several people quickly reached an agreement, and sometimes Rao 1.4 looked at the picture on the screen with interest, as if expecting something. At this time, Riveria, who was still fighting on the 59th floor, didn't know what happened. But what she knew was that the honest bugs in front of her suddenly started to fight back. Just like going crazy, wantonly destroying everything around. Doesn't it mean that the people in the team are all relatively high level, and they were not caught off guard by these bugs? Not only that, the originally orderly team of the insect swarm suddenly became chaotic. Countless bugs rushed out from behind. Riveria finally had an understanding of the number of these bugs. Wow, I can't even count. Chapter 92 Marble Mallet, Riveria of LV8. Everyone, come close to me. I'll take care of these troublesome guys. Riveria gestured to Chun-Ji behind her, and the little fox girl under the protection of the two LV5s immediately started to move. Grow big, do your best, countless treasures, countless wishes. When the bell rings, pray for glory and fantasy. Grow big, swallow the gods' food, and give the gods gold, give the hammer back to the earth, and give blessings, let's get bigger. Gold's halo surrounds her with Chun-Ji's continuous chants, and the number of light spots increases. At the moment when the chant ended, these gold light spots poured into Riveria's body under the guidance of Chun-Ji. Like a Saiyan who occasionally transforms, Riveria is surrounded by a circle of surging gold flames. Although she has experienced Chun-Ji's magic many times, every time she feels the magic power in her body soar, even with her calm mind, she can't help but want to taste this power zone slowly. But now is not the time to waste time, and the chant that he knows by heart blurted out. Destroy all these bugs into ashes in one breath. Advanced Sword of Victory. The soaring pillar of fire, which was more terrifying than the previous attack of the Paolong, appeared at the feet of these bugs, followed by the second and third. How much damage can a LV8 Elf Magister cause? More than half of the area on the 59th floor was dyed red by the flames, and the lush vegetation was swallowed by the flames, and turned into ashes in an instant and dissipated in the air. The swarm of insects that could make people suffer from dense phobia seems to be cleared with one click, and any insects that get close to the fire pillar will not be spared. Instantly evaporated into a gas at extremely high temperature, profoundly expressing what is called death upon touch. The effect of magic is very obvious. The original dense jungle was destroyed, and the entire 59th floor became silent, and even the wind blowing seemed to be scalding hot. The sporadic monsters that survived hiding in the corners were no longer a threat, but the scorching land under their feet made other members of the team reluctant to approach. This magic is really strong. The combination of Riveria and Haruhime is terrible. This is LV8, it's as strong as a monster. Ahahaha, it's a good thing that Master Riveria is our leader, otherwise I don't know how to deal with this kind of attack. Tiona scratched her head reluctantly. What kind of monster is that? Is this magic? That elf is Riveria from the Sol family, why is her magic so strong? Isn't she LV6? This is your F asterisk 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 GLV6. Can your L6 magic kill so many monsters in seconds? Rivelia's information is wrong, at least it is LV7. It can't be a normal LV7. LV7 doesn't matter if it's normal or not. What should we do now? If Olali has two LV7s, what should we do? Stop arguing, didn't you notice, before Riveria attacked, did the blonde fox girl cast magic on her? You mean, it's because of the blessing of buff magic that it's so powerful? It's very possible, otherwise it can't be explained at all. That's right, it must be buff magic. That fox girl must have some powerful auxiliary magic, otherwise, Electric Velia wouldn't have brought 10 oil bottles to 59. The people who were watching the play with relaxed faces started to twitter and quarrel. This attack really broke their defenses. If Riveria is really as powerful as she just showed, then what are these people still wasting their time here? Even if it is true, it must be learned to be false. This not only scares the guys who still want to hide in the dark to watch the show, but also the teammates of their own. They had little chance to see Riveria use her magic at full capacity before. The main reason is that Riveria is busy dealing with the internal affairs of the family all day long, and she even rarely goes to the dungeon. Basically, they will lead the team when they are on an expedition, and they will basically give up the opportunity to perform to newcomers. People in the family only know that Riveria is strong, but they don't know how strong she is. Even the old members only saw how Riveria fought when she saw LV$. Well, now refresh their cognition. Even after going back, even those guys in the family who like to make troubles became a lot more honest, which saved Riveria a lot of worry. I didn't expect that a proper display of strength could have such a good effect. Unknowingly, it also had the effect of killing chickens and monkeys. But, there seems to be nothing else here. Several people looked around curiously. Under Riveria's magical bombardment, most of the things that block the line of sight have basically been moved flat. Now they can easily observe the situation of the whole floor. But there was no trace of the boss. According to the logic, the little miscellaneous soldiers have been cleaned up, so shouldn't it be Boss Dollar's turn to appear next? Could it have been burnt to ashes together with those little bugs? Surti absently mentioned that Riveria's blow hadn't slowed him down yet. I made Riveria angry so many times before, but he can still live until now, his life is really big enough. No one knows Set's reflection, but his idea has been affirmed by many people. Even the floor master couldn't withstand the previous attack. It is not surprising that the bosses of those strange insects will be wiped out. Although they all thought so, Riveria still took advantage of the time to clean up the remaining monsters, and waited until Akali and the others came back. No unusual places were found. It seems that all the new monsters here have died. You sure? That's right, I even went around the entrance of the 60th floor, and found no trace of biological activity there. It seems that the boss here has indeed been eliminated. After hearing the affirmative answer, Riveria finally breathed a sigh of relief. After the 60th floor is a new world, a field that Riveria has never set foot in, and she doesn't want to go down so early. I've heard some from Alcoa before. Chapter 93. The experience package is online. At this moment, cracks appeared on the ground not far away, followed by a large number of monsters that originally belonged to the 59th floor drilled out of the ground. There was no need for Riveria to remind, several members of the team rushed forward in one go. In the previous battles, because of Riveria's intervention, there were not many chances to do it, so it's hard to miss it now. The monsters on the 59th floor are much stronger than those insect-type monsters, but they are still not enough in the hands of Seti and others. With 3 strokes, 5 divisions and 2 divisions, Tiona began to clean the battlefield again. It seems that there is indeed no problem. The dungeon has begun to refresh monsters. Riveria glanced at the nearby situation. The environment on the entire floor seemed to be recovering slowly, and the chill in the air became more and more obvious. Clean the battlefield and prepare to retreat. Riveria gave the order decisively. We can't wait for the 59th floor to return to the glacier domain, and it will be a little troublesome to retreat by then. While the road is still easy to walk, I can run fast. Several people helped Tiona pack the magic stones on the ground, and a group of people ran to the entrance of the 58th floor link in a mighty manner. Back on the 58th floor, Tiona couldn't wait to get back the loot she had packed up earlier, and a group of people ran back to the 56,470th floor in one go. After all, none of the people present had the ability to fly up to take another through train. On the way back, they could only honestly run back with their own legs. But it's not without benefits, at least the return journey is full of rewards. When we got back to the 50th floor, basically everyone was full of gains. The magic stones and materials here are too big, and it is difficult for non-serious supporters to memorize too many. Fortunately, they have more advanced adventurers, and their load-bearing capacity is definitely not weak. I stayed in the deep layer for a while. In addition to collecting more materials and magic stones to fill the expenses of this expedition, Riveria also took people to the 59th floor on the way. The environment there has been completely restored to its original appearance, but the glacier field is very uncomfortable. But this is good news for Riveria, it seems that everything has really returned to normal. After staying for so many days, Balur, which was refreshed again on the 49th floor, became the new target of the Thor family. Of the many family companions brought this time, most of them, CCDG, have met the attribute requirements for upgrading. Bad is a great cause, and Balur who wiped out LV7 is a good choice. Riveria stood in the distance and observed Balur's movements, while the expedition team began to fight according to the original idea. Naturally, Kled was the striker, and the opponent rode Scar to activate his big move, and ran a long acceleration zone around Balur. The petite figure rushed in front of Balur, and with the peak power of LV5, it hit Balur's knee like a mayfly shaking a tree. The spare long axe left a not-so-shallow wound on Balur's knee. Balur's body tilted, although he didn't fall down, but the hatred was sucked away by Kled. Regardless of the other nearby enemies, the huge palm that covered the sky and the sun waved towards Kled like a mosquito. With the existence of the acceleration belt, Klein slapped Skarl's butt hard, and the speed of the mount under him suddenly increased a lot. Dodging the blow narrowly, the wind and waves rolled up by his palms on the ground almost flew out of him. At this time, the petite body became the best cover, and it was obviously not easy for a big man like Balur to catch Kled. Show me here. Behind Balur, Seti had steadied his footing. The pair of fists were swung alternately, and Bang Bang, who was full of pride, seemed to have hit the iron plate with both fists. The shock made my wrist hurt. Balur had just turned his head. Before seeing Set's face, a figure had already rushed in front of it. Aurelia stabbed in front of Balur with the help of a sharp blade, and the pupils of him who were bigger than her were the best targets. The handed-down blade accurately pierced Balur's right eye, and the two vanguard blades were thrown to the sides of Balur's head, and the two blades were pulled up together. The two blades flew to each other's positions, and a straight scar immediately appeared on Balur's head. However, Aurelia's movements did not stop, and the vanguard blade on the back aligned with Aurelia's movements to one side and slashed across Zonglor's injured right eye one after another. Blood spurted out, and the original huge right eye was completely closed. The pain in becoming a one-eyed dragon made Balur so angry that he didn't even retract his arm, and the huge head fell directly. Balur's actions were not in Aurelia's plan, and she was already prepared to avoid the opponent's energy spray or the dog's pocket. Who knew what was waiting was a head hammer. But Aurelia's reaction speed was very fast, and the blade not far away was called back to her side, and instantly put on a defensive posture of the dance of distance. The huge impact still caused Aurelia to fly upside down, splashing blood in the air. The two sisters Diona and Dione hurried forward and caught each other together. However, the three of them were directly repelled to the rear guard position. What happened to Aurelia did not affect the actions of other people, and Yon in the distance had already entered the spirit state through the breaking edge. A Feng Chen Junyan slash came in front of Balur, and the long swords in his left and right hands swung out one after another, and the godly slash and Zoyuki all landed on Balur's intact left eye. Before Balur could react, Yongan had already returned the spirit body to his body. The main thing is a guerrilla warfare, take advantage and run away. His little crispy skin can't stand LV7's Balur's heavy hammer. Both eyes were attacked at the same time, and Balur let out a painful howl, and the terrifying sound was comparable to ordinary sound magic. At the same time, terrifying energy gathered around Balur's mouth. Cute. Lulu ruthlessly interrupted Balur's attack. Both the screams and the gathered energy were held back into the stomach. A blind little sheep appeared at Balor's position, perhaps because of his relatively large size. Even if he became a little sheep, he would still be a size bigger. Seeing Lulu make a move, the rest of the crowd rushed up. During the period when the opponent is transformed into a sheep, it is necessary to cause as much damage as possible. Chapter 94. Now, who is the floor master? Changing into a sheep will not affect Balor's own defense. If the level is not enough, it will be difficult for even a hero to leave obvious scars on it. The weapon even cut sparks on the tuft of wool. However, in just a few seconds after being transformed into a sheep, Balor returned to his original state. However, the control chain of the expedition team was very well connected. Keenan, who had been prepared in the distance, activated the 10,000 Thunder Heaven prison at the moment Balor returned to his original state. Countless bolts of pale lightning struck down on the head. Balor stretched out his hand to cover the top of his head. His paralyzed body failed to launch a counterattack immediately. The members who gathered around had faded away like the tide. After the front-liners drew aggro perfectly, the mage team at the far backs finally started to take off. Such a luxurious mage team released magic at the same time. This honor moved Balor almost to tears. The huge body was completely submerged by all kinds of magic, and this time even the screams were not as loud as they were at the beginning. Even after being attacked like this, Balor only looked miserable, but he was still a long way from death. At this time, in the guard camp, Chunji had already prepared the chants, and countless golden lights fell into Nar's body. Nar, who broke through LV6 temporarily, immediately felt the power pouring out of his body. He roared excitedly, and the red hair on his body grew more and more. The small body trotted to the front of Balor, and the pupils could no longer be seen in the eyes. Hey! Get bigger! The roar of the giant Nar's transformation overlapped with Lulu's crisp voice. The power of the wild growth made the giant Nar's body size increase a lot, and his big head vaguely surpassed Balor. LV5 peak plus the huge increase of transformation, Lulu's wild growth, the increase of various skills and the level increase of the magic hammer. It directly pushed the giant Nar to a level close to LV7. Coupled with the fact that his body was about to be bigger than Balor, at this moment, the giant Nar even dared to touch this floor master head on. Now, who is the real floor master? When the huge palm was waved, it was a big bag. Balor's head was completely slapped aside, and his neck made a click sound. This is the first time since I became the floor owner, I was slapped hard. I'm Balor, and I understand very well now. A group of insidious adventurers broke into my territory, poked my eyes out, and called a large group of people to beat me up. But it doesn't matter, as long as a little time, this small injury can recover. Until I got a big mouth. What am I fighting with? Balor seemed to have lost his mind, and didn't even fight back immediately. You know how much psychological shadow such a big bag will cause to a newborn floor master. It's just that Nar, who is full of energy in his body now, can't take care of so much. He seems to have been injected with a stimulant, and he hammered heavily on the place where he just slapped with a fist like a hill. The head that had just turned around completely. The huge body was also unable to stand up, like a leaning building, and fell to the ground with a bang. Nar didn't know how to write mercilessly. He pressed directly on Balor's weak body, punch after punch, all aimed at the head. As the saying goes, you don't hit someone when you hit someone. This guy is specifically greeting his face. Let alone recover from the injury now, the face was smashed. The battle lasted for a long time, and with the help of many companions, Nar finally ended the rough and short life of this Balor. With the appearance of the huge magic stone, Nar finally returned to its original size. Well, you guys did a good job. Seeing that the battle was over, Riveria came in. However, there was something wrong with the way she looked at Nar. This child was usually quite lively, but he didn't expect him to be so violent in his bones. In the future, I will discipline the other party a little bit. It's a pity that Nar hasn't learned to speak since he was summoned. It stands to reason that Yordles are quite smart, and it doesn't take much effort to learn a language. Riveria also specially asked the people in the family to teach him seriously. But this guy just can't learn. It seems that his mind is not on learning to speak. Okay, this expedition is over, everyone pack up and prepare to go home. A fulfilling day is over. At the barbecue party organized temporarily in the evening. asking for flowers. With a wave of her hand, Rivria announced the end of the expedition. The family members suddenly became excited. Although the expedition can exercise strength, who wouldn't want to go home, especially those who are relatively salty like Ali, who are almost depressed at 50 Kong. Every day is to spawn monsters. Say it's an expedition, it's more like changing to an advanced map for leveling. Finally able to go back, Ari finally showed a sincere smile on his face. Olaline, after the expedition set off, Saul took Alcua to Va Roland for honeymoon as usual. The other party owes Ionia the slow-paced and quiet life, and asks Saul to open the portal for him every day. At the beginning, Alcoa was worried that Thor would be targeted by the guild if he often used the portal, but now he doesn't think about it at all. On the other side, in a very common alley in Olali, a conspicuous blue ribbon flutters in the air with the wind. How can it be repaired? Why doesn't any child from the lower realms want to join my Hestia family? Hestia was walking down the street in a daze. Not long ago, she was thrown out by her close friend Hephaestus. After spending 2 months eating and drinking at Hephaestus' house, the god of craftsmen finally reached the limit of his patience. When night was approaching, Poppy met Saul in the lounge who had just returned from Ionia. You said that guy Hestia is already in the lower realm. Are you sure? Yes, I saw him at Lord Hephaestus' family residence, but it seems that he has been in the lower realm for a while. Bobby nodded affirmatively. A few days ago, Poppy was too busy to forge more advanced equipment, so Rivria didn't find him to join the expedition. And because of his passion for forging, and his apprenticeship with Hephaestus, Bobby and Tsubaki have a very good personal relationship. The Saul family doesn't have a partner with whom she can communicate and exercise, which also makes Poppy like to go to Chun and Hephaestus to communicate and learn when he has nothing to do. Over time, the Hephaestus family seems to have become her second home. The relationship between the two families suddenly became closer for a long time. Chapter 95 Blue Ribbon. Saul remembered that Hestia, the little bean, would go to Hephaestus's house to eat for a while after he went down to the big family. Simply let Bobby pay more attention to the other party. I didn't expect the news to come so soon. Are you familiar with the relationship with God Hestia? Watching Bobby leave, Alkia asked curiously. It wasn't the first time that Saul cared about Hestia's movements, almost catching up with the number of times the other party asked Astria. Our relationship is so-so, that guy Hestia is a dead house, even when he is in the god realm, he basically doesn't go out. Is that so? Although it felt like Saul was hiding something from him, Alcua was not the kind of person who was full of curiosity. Love to talk or not. In the early morning of the next day, Saul's 550 started wandering around O'Leary. After deliberate searching, I soon found a small fried potato ball stand in a downtown area. Of course, it is the blue ribbon goddess with childlike face and big breasts at the booth that attracts attention. Hey, isn't this Hestia? How come it's reduced to selling potato balls? Saul, are you here to laugh at me? Don't be so excited. I heard from my children that a house god was thrown out by Hephaestus, and I immediately thought of you. Saul smiled. Are you polite? Could it be that I was the one who was thrown out? What else is a house god? She is Hestia, the god of stove fire. No, why do you know that I was kicked out by Hephaestus? Hestia discovered the blind spot of the problem. She has been staying at the house of the god friend Hephaestus since the lower world and has not shown her face. HMPH, of course my child told me. Saul shrugged his nose triumphantly, looking down at the short loli in front of him. Your child. I've only stayed in Hephaestus' house. No, is that Bobby's child from your family? Of course, Bobby is the best blacksmith in my family, and her own level is LV. Even in Hephaestus, few can compare to her. Saul bit his tongue, showing off his own child. He couldn't help but point out all the advantages of his own child. He almost said LV5. Even so, his goal has been achieved, and the lowly god in front of him has already begun to envy him. She is still in the state of self-made. Seeing that all her god friends are living so comfortably, she can't help but complain in her heart why she didn't rest earlier. Poor Hestia started too high. When he first entered the lower realm, he followed Hephaestus, and after being kicked out, he encountered big families, like Loki and Saul again. As everyone knows, there are still many gods in Orario living in poverty. Maybe you can find Astoria-chan, she should be willing to take you in. Saul looked at Hestia with a smile on his lips. HMPH. I don't need it, I have decided to work hard. On your own, have you finally decided to give up the title of virgin? Thor swept Hestia around. With the virgin goddess plus the blue ribbon and various attributes, there are indeed many gods who will covet this guy. The body is also capital. You guy, have you been conquered by my charm? Hestia looked at Saul provocatively. Although she is a virgin, various promiscuity behaviors are not uncommon in the god realm, and Hestia can be regarded as a well-informed old driver in this regard. Ah, what nonsense are you talking about? With your small body, I'm not interested at all. Saul refused very decisively. Human XP is free, and so is God. In comparison, the existence of God is too long, and there are very few ways to obtain joy. Those boring gods are willing to try anything when they are interested, and some alternative existences don't even care about gender and race. As far as he knows, many Shendu are two-handed. However, Saul still has his own bottom line. Even if his appearance is astonishing, he has no feeling for juvenile and petite physique, just admiring eyes. Men are even more impossible. Even if Hestia's childlike face and big breasts attribute can add a lot of points, but if you are not interested, you are not interested. He is a single-minded god. From the beginning of his birth, his favorite is the mature and plump style. This original intention has never wavered. That's right, I haven't seen you for so many years, so let you treat me to a deep fry. Okay, Hestia promised to shut up halfway. It feels like something is wrong. Usually, you are the one who invites me, right? Are you seriously ill? TCH, if you're really bored, go somewhere else, I don't have time to entertain you. Okay, I'm not joking with you, since you guys have been kicked out, why don't you recruit members of the family? You come here to sell potato balls, but no children come to your door. I also want to find some good children, but there are not many children who are willing to join my family. Although Hestia complained so much, he didn't show much disappointment. Something's wrong, Wang shouldn't have become dull because of being rejected many times. That's right, who let you go down to the world so late? You are poor and weak, it's normal that no one wants to come. You guy really came here to mock me. Hestia only felt that he was out of breath, and the mountain in his chest couldn't help shaking. It's so ferocious. This capital is too strong. 0.0. But forget it, I'm not the same now as I was before. What's the difference? Saul asked cooperatively. HMPH. I've found my first child, as long as Mr. Bell is here, it doesn't matter if there are other children. Quote. Saul raised his eyebrows unexpectedly. How come, Hestia, this guy met you so early? It shouldn't be, didn't she just get kicked out by Hephaestus within 2 days? He also didn't hear the news from Bel to Olili. During this period of time, the children of the family went on an expedition, and the number of people Saul could command was too small. Moreover, these people are basically used to maintain the operation of the family. In terms of intelligence, it is inevitable to be a little slack. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 96 Freya. That's really congratulations, when did it happen? HMPH, just last night, you guys who laughed at me, just wait and see how excellent my dear Belle is. I don't know if it's excellent or not, but entering the dungeon alone is very dangerous, especially for new adventurers, the death rate is the highest. Saul poured a basin of cold water on the opponent without a trace, and Hestia was immediately discouraged, with a worried look on his face. Taking advantage of the other party's inattention, Saul quickly took a piece of fried potato balls that had just been made, and left the stall after eating happily. Now there is no time to chat with Hestia, he has to go back and think about how to deal with the future. First of all, I need to tell Algoa about Belle. From the very beginning, Saul never thought of bringing the protagonist into his own family. That guy Bell looks benevolent, but he is also a hidden harem king in his bones, and no one else is allowed to intervene in his 25 territory. But for Althea's sake, she must give the other party some support. This is what Althea promised when she first joined the Familia. Let's go to Freya to have a look first. Saul looked deeply at the top of the Tower of Babel, where Freya's family resided. I don't know if the goddess has noticed Belle now. If you want to go to the Freya Familia, you have to bring some talents, at least 2 strong people. There are a bunch of crazy Freya chefs in the Freya family. Once they encounter something about Freya, they really have no sense at all. Who knows what outrageous things they'll do. Back to the family, there were not many people in the large station due to the expedition. Algoya must bring it with him. This is the most basic guarantee, but he can't go to see Freya with him. That beautiful god's eyes can directly see through the soul, and it is impossible to hide it from the other party's eyes only by the modification of the face. Just enter the Roland continent in advance, and Saul can call the other party at any time in case of an accident. Call me Shyvana. Although Shyvana has not been summoned for a long time, the talent of this dragon blood warrior is no worse than anyone else. In just a few years, it is almost catching up with the first echelon, and it is now the peak of LV4. If you turn on the ultimate move and turn into a dragon form, you won't be afraid to touch the top adventurers of LV5. As for the other choice, there aren't many options to choose from, and the highest level ones seem to be Vigus and Bobby. Bobby is busy again. Vigus, who was hiding in her little black room and chatting with Shadow, suddenly shuddered. It's so troublesome, why should I follow out? There are two residences of the Freya family, one is the Silver Mansion at the top of the Tower of Babel, and the other is the Battle Wilderness on the ground of Orari. Among them, the Silver Mansion is more like a residence belonging to Freya alone, and most of the family members are gathered in the Battle Wilderness. This is also the courtyard where the members of the Freya Familia practice for combat. If the area of Freya's two family residences is added up, I'm afraid it will not be larger than the Saul family's residence. Babita is still so lively, Wei Gussie's expression has begun to feel uncomfortable. The hot atmosphere was completely tormenting for him. Okay, just bear with it for a while. Saul casually reassured the other party. The group of people moved very fast, and it didn't take long to arrive at the entrance of the Silver Mansion. Standing at the door was Oda. Using the LV7 of the strongest adventurer on Olali's face to guard the gate, only the Freya family has this condition. Oda, Freya's #1 licking dog, has no shame in doing things like guarding the gate. At the very least, when ordinary visitors saw this scene, their momentum had already weakened a lot. No, I have to ask Al-K to guard the door for me at any time. Yo Oda, long time no see, Freya should be inside. Saul raised his hand and greeted the other party casually. Please allow me to tell you, God Saul. The expression on Oda's face did not change at all, and there was no sign of respect either. Shyvana, who was following Saul, was about to go mad immediately, and 10 warm hands fell on the other's head. The burning anger in my heart was instantly extinguished. Shyvana knew who the hand belonged to, and Thor knew how to appease the child. Because people have been regarded as heterogeneous since childhood, and Demacia is a relatively exclusive place, Shyvana has always longed to be accepted by people. But after being summoned by Thor, everything is different. Thor's body is a dragon, and Shyvana has a sense of belonging all of a sudden, and she no longer rejects her bloodline. And there is also a Jaina in the family, and the two girls who both have dragon blood have a common language. Ajaina's dragon blood also records Shyvana's magic. Go and come back quickly, I won't wait here for too long. Oda cast Shyvana a deep look. Although Saul stopped his movements, the air that seemed to become scorching hot at that moment could not deceive anyone. He is a capable rookie 540. As the strongest adventurer in Orari, Oda has absolute confidence in herself. Even if Shyvana's strength is not as good as it is now, there is still a long way to go compared with him. Oda didn't waste too much time, and soon Saul led the two into a small study-like place where Freya usually stayed. There are all bookshelves around here, only a set of tables and chairs are placed in front of a huge floor-to-ceiling mirror. Through this floor-to-ceiling mirror, you can clearly see the whole scenery of Orari, and directly below is the most prosperous street in Orari. It's a treasure trove. Freya doesn't think she just stays here every day to find her favorite soul. It's boring enough. My place is not bad. Yes, the view from this location is indeed very good, and the wine here is also very good. While talking, Saul turned and left the window, sat down in Freya's place familiarly, picked up the red wine bottle and poured himself a glass. It's a pity that he doesn't have the ability to taste red wine, and the wine from Demeter's house really suits his appetite the most. Of course, Sumo's wine is also good. If you don't like to drink, don't force it. How can I pretend to be elegant? Chapter 97 Goddess of Beauty. Freya chuckled, and took the initiative to take the wine glass from Saul's hand. The charming eyes are extraordinarily bright, as if expressing countless feelings. The two of them had a dewy relationship in the heaven, but it was just a dewy relationship. Saul didn't even know that Freya treated him differently than everyone else. Haha, did you find out? Saul fell back with a grin, completely leaning on the soft back of the chair. I have to say, this chair is really comfortable to sit on. If there is a chance, he will also get a similar one and put it in his lounge. With such a good viewing platform, have you found any interesting children recently? It's not so easy to find a good boy. Freya shook her head lightly, and drank the remaining wine into her mouth in one gulp. What's the purpose of your coming to my place this time? Standing behind the chair, Freya's body was pressed against the back of the chair, clearly separated by a layer of soft cushions, but Saul could clearly see the existence of the people behind him. Under close contact, Saul can still smell a faint fragrance from the other person. He hadn't smelled Freya's scent for a long time. I just saw Hestia at the potato ball stand, and I just wanted to see how you are doing on a whim. Is that so? Hestia has also descended. Haha, that lowly god was thrown out when he was eating and drinking at Hephaestus' house not long ago. Saul laughed at the other party mercilessly. The gods in the lower realm of this time really don't play well. HMPH, you are majestic now, so many powerful children in your family are really enviable. Well, I don't particularly care about these. Freya said in a flat tone, as if she was just explaining a fact. This is the difference between the rich and the poor. The more people own it, the less they care about these things. But Saul knew that Freya was not with him in Versailles. This woman was really not interested in Olali and the family. From the beginning to the end, the other party has never paid attention to the development of the family, and her goal has never changed. The purpose of her lower realm is to find a real partner. In some ways, Freya is a man of purpose. Also, the two children behind you are very beautiful. Freya looked at Shyvana and Vigus with deep eyes, a fiery soul burning like a flame, and a dark soul like a pool of stagnant water. They are all beautiful souls that I have not seen for so many years, and it is unforgettable after just one glance. But the souls of these children are far inferior to Saul. That majestic and splendid soul that seemed to be like an infinite universe, every time she saw it, she couldn't help but be addicted to it. After that day, Freya was no longer interested in other people, and recruiting family members was more like satisfying her collection addiction. It's just that Freya never showed it. Unlike Belle, whom she always dreamed of in the original book, she had fond memories with Saul. And the two are both gods, so she can wait slowly. Belle is different. As a mortal, no matter how bright his soul is, time will destroy his body. Don't stare at my lovely children like this. You should save these kind words of praise for your own little babies who are waiting to be fed. You're still so stingy, but those children in my family are already able to take care of themselves. Is that so? Why do I still see a group of little babies eager for attention? What's wrong with longing for the care of your own God? It's true, when my children can rely on me like this. Saul held his chin resentfully. There is no way. The children in his family are all self-reliant, and even if they have any problems, they will go to Riveria to take care of them. Then you have to be more reliable. Freya said with a slight smile on her face. Horta behind the other party stood there like a pillar. Even if Saul said some insulting words earlier, he didn't respond at all. Tisk, it's boring, people have seen it, I'm going back. Why don't you stay and play? Freya's tone was provocative, and she felt the other party's expectation inexplicably. She really hasn't had a two-person world with Saul for a long time. Although it can be said that it can wait, but the body really shows my mind very honestly. Let's forget about it today. Your children are watching so closely. I'm not interested in performing erotica in front of others. He took a funny look at Oda, who had been staring at him, like a conscientious guard. But the opponent didn't move half a step from the beginning. Although he said that he would not interfere with the goddess, in his heart he always hoped that Freya could pay more attention to herself. Everyone in the Freya family has this thought in their hearts. She didn't give Freya a chance to keep her, and quickly slipped away with the two of them rubbing oil on the soles of their feet. It seems that Freya hasn't noticed Belle yet, and he came here just to make sure of it. Watching Saul leave, Wu Leia's face suddenly darkened. Oda, recently you were preparing for the expedition arranged by the guild. Quote. Yes. After driving the pig man who ruined her good deed out of the room, Freya finally felt that her heart was a little better. Walking to the floor-to-ceiling windows, Freya's breathing suddenly became heavy as she looked at the man who reappeared in the field of vision below. Good Li Jiao. Biting her lower lip lightly, adding some vibrato to her breathing, she held her cheeks with her hands. His face flushed uncontrollably. List. Feeling the flame ignited in his heart, Thor licked his dry lips. Freya, the goblin, she murmured silently in her heart. Previously, he really had the idea of directly crushing Freya. That is to say, he really doesn't like to perform in front of others. But in the current situation, it is always necessary to find a place to solve his personal problems. I'm going to take a bath, you two go back first, or you can walk around. After saying a word, Saul ran towards the distance without looking back. Shyvana and Vigas looked at each other, and without giving each other a chance to speak, Vigas immediately rushed towards home. It was several times faster than when it came. Chapter 98. It's Freya I'm flirting with, I'm thinking of Astoria, and it turns out it's Demeter. Sol's goal is the bathhouse, and it is a bathhouse dedicated to God. But he came earlier, and there was no one in the bathhouse, as if it was reserved. Originally, he wanted to go directly to Astoria, but he was afraid that the goddess of justice would smell Freya on him. Whether it is a goddess or a mortal, they will always be extra keen at such times. Let's take a shower first. The main thing is to be cautious. Ah. At the entrance of the bathroom, Saul, who was in a hurry, bumped into a plump body without noticing it. Two bouncy balls bounced him back, and he almost fell to the ground without standing still. Isn't this Saul? You even come here to take a bath. Demeter. Saul looked at the woman in front of him in surprise, who was not inferior to Hestia at all. Blonde hair, orange pupils, elegant temperament, broad mind. It is worthy of being the god who is in charge of maternal love, indeed tolerance is great. Impeccable. Isn't this more fragrant than Hestia? Thinking that it seems that he hasn't exchanged experience with Demeter for a long time, Saul's eyes changed. In the past, Saul might not have been so urgent, but today this is not a special situation. It's not that the nature of the dragon family has been aroused, and I can't control it. Blame Aurelion. Hey, you were teased by someone. Demeter noticed the changes in Saul's body, and his face instantly became more playful. Especially those eyes that seem to have seen the prey, it is really impossible to ignore. Demeter herself is very much in line with Thor's preferences. When they were in the heaven, they were also good friends who could sleep together. Without saying too much, Demeter put on a smile on his face, and put his arms around Saul, letting the other's arm fall into the abyss completely. It was already noon the next day when Saul walked out of the bathhouse. Demeter only came out on the second night, and her calves were still trembling when she left. I heard that the members of the Demeter family almost turned Olali over in order to find their gods. If Demeter came out later, her children would really call the police. Back to the family resident, because Saul has a criminal record, even if he didn't come back overnight, the members of his family didn't worry too much. As soon as I got home, I saw Astoria standing guard in the hall of her house. The relationship between the two is well known to the families of both sides, so no one will stop Astoria from visiting. It's just that no one thought that Astoria would hold on all night. You be asterisk 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 D, what are you thinking in your head? It was not easy to wait for Saul to come back, but in the end, he could smell a fragrance on the other party. Originally, she would not think of that aspect, but it is still quite big who made the Demeter family move. Don't look at the weak strength of the Demeter family, they are Olali's big food producers. All the vast farmland outside Orario is the property of the Demeter family. On weekdays, they will also purchase the native plants and fruits of the dungeon from adventurers, and try to plant them on the ground. Additional props will be made for adventurers to use, and the demand in Orario City is very high. Just like the Hephaestus family, Olali can lose one or two expedition family members, but without the Demeter family, it really can't move. Eating and drinking Lazard, the Demeter family accounted for half. This one can really affect the whole of Orario. But the stinky man in front of him smells like Demeter. What did this guy do with Demeter last night, so he can figure it out with a little thought. CFCC damn it, it's a shame she's still waiting here for so long. I originally wanted to find you. Didn't I just happen to meet Demeter in the bathhouse? So you just stayed with the other party for one night. Did you know that the Demeter family was almost turned over by Orario? Ahahaha. I didn't plan to stay for such a long time. It's been a long time since we met. Saul smiled innocently. It's not a question of staying for such a long time. You guys can't be serious. Interrupted Souls, pretending to be stupid, but this is not the first time she has encountered this kind of thing. Now it is more about venting the dissatisfaction in my heart. Let's get down to business first. What's your business here looking for me? Saul wisely shifted the topic elsewhere. Have you heard all the information from the Loki family? Why do you still look so calm? Information from Loki's family. Her family's expedition team has returned. Saul had a confused expression on his face. I knew it, they came back last night. You guy was having fun with that guy Demeter at that time. Why are you bringing this up again? Isn't it already over? Fortunately, Astoria didn't mean to delve into it. It seemed that she was just in a bad mood and stopped him. A new type of monster appeared after the 50th floor of the dungeon, and the guild seems to be organizing people to investigate the situation. After the 50th floor. Isn't that the goal of my expedition team? Have you finally realized the seriousness of the problem? Your children are all on the 50th floor now. Well, don't worry. If there is a problem, they will definitely come back with the Loki family. Saul was not so nervous, but turned over to comfort Astria. If others don't know, he still doesn't know the strength of his expedition team. Not to mention so many LV5 heroes, just the combination of Chunji and Riveria. In a critical moment, Velia turned into an LV8 magic cannon. Don't say anything dangerous, the dungeon has been penetrated for you. It's great, this kind of self-confidence. Astoria also understands this truth, but if this matter is placed on herself, she will definitely worry about the safety of her family. Soul's confidence in his own children seems to be engraved in his bones, which is really enviable. Of course, if I lose confidence in my own children, who else can I trust? It was still the tone of course, and the listeners were a little angry. She seems to be doing too much. Maybe there was some sulking. Astoria said goodbye and left after finishing the information. Chapter 99. The nephew is here. However, a new type of monster. If I remember correctly, there seems to be a fallen fairy spirit mixed in it. Although not worried about the safety of Riveria and the others, Saul thought of something else. That fellow Riveria, shouldn't he go to hunt down the clone of the fallen fairy? In that case, the Rocky Familia's gang of LM5 upgrade packages will be gone. Forget it, it has nothing to do with him whether members of the Loki family can upgrade. If you have this time, why not guess how many children in your family can upgrade after this expedition is over? After sorting out his thoughts, Saul resumed his unruly appearance. Alfia, let's go out for a stroll. With a wave of his hand, he summoned the portal, and Alfia was forcibly pulled back. The expression on the other party's face was a little unhappy, as if he was complaining about Saul's waywardness. Go shopping. Why do you suddenly have such leisurely thoughts? HMPH, it's hard for me to share information with you with your attitude. Thor kept a mysterious expression. Alcoa was still aroused curiosity. Calling himself out on purpose, it must be information related to her. Your precious nephew may be in Orario. Nephew, you mean Bell. Has he arrived in Orario? All of a sudden, Algoya became more energetic, and even opened his eyes a little, and he could vaguely see the charming pair of different colored pupils. But the emotions are not as high as expected. Maybe it's because Alcoa isn't the type to have big mood swings. Saul thought so. Where is that child now? When I heard the news, that child had already joined the Hestia family. Saul spread his hands helplessly. The Hestia family. Why haven't I heard the name of this family? Alfia frowned and thought for a moment, then asked suspiciously. Because it is a family that was created only a few days ago. The main god of the family is Hestia, one of the 3 virgin goddesses. Your nephew is now the only member of her family. Is this good news? My nephew has just become an adventurer, joining a brand new family. This is not the time to go on an adventure alone. Hestia is still very precious to that child. Don't worry too much, just have some confidence in your nephew. There was a smirk on Soul's face, but it's a pity that Alfia is not in the mood to joke now. This is the only blood left by my sister. Why don't you go shopping? Maybe you can have a fateful encounter with your nephew on the street. Sol's tone and movements were extremely exaggerated, which caused Althea to rub her arms in disgust. Who would have a fateful encounter with his nephew? Well, don't worry about such small problems, let's go. Go out now. Algaya glanced at the darkened sky suspiciously. Dinner. I haven't eaten for almost a whole day, and now I miss the food and the rich hostess. It's good to just say that you don't want to eat at the beginning. Alcoa sighed helplessly, always feeling that he could not keep up with Sol's thinking that one thing is one thing. The two were walking on the path to the tavern, and soon they heard a burst of cheerful noise. Someone seems to be hosting a banquet inside, should we go in? They have their banquet, we eat our dinner, without conflict. Sol pushed the door indifferently and walked into the rich hostess. The original noisy voice suddenly became quieter. The two entered the tavern against the eyes of everyone, and their eyes swept around. The two large tables in the center of the tavern had already sat a circle of people from the Loki family, and they had a familiar feeling when they heard the voice outside. Sol even spotted Loki with one foot on a chair drinking at a glance. Sol, come here, let's have a drink. Holding the wine glass, Loki approached Sol carelessly, and hooked Sol's shoulder with one hand. Seeing the other party's alcohol-smelling appearance, Sol pinched his nose in disgust. Alcoa, who was originally standing not far behind Sol, has quietly opened a distance. UB***************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** thanks to death. Thor threw it out to the opponent in disgust, and Finn took a quick step forward, supporting Loki's body from behind. Ask for flowers. Two members of Loki's family hurried up to support Loki back to his original position. I'm sorry, Sir Saul, for causing you trouble. Small question, is this a banquet to celebrate the end of the expedition? That's right, it's thanks to the help of Riveria and the others that I can come back smoothly this time. Finn politely expressed his thanks to him. You're welcome, have fun, I'm going to eat too. Saul waved his hand casually. Master Saul, you haven't come to our place for a long time. Only then did the waiter Hill greet him and guide Saul to sit down at the empty table in the corner. The arrival of the people has affected the interest of the Loki family, and the tavern has returned to the original scene of being full of fire. 0. Hey, Ace, it's about time to tell everyone about that. Seemingly drunk, the white-haired werewolf stood up and said loudly. The attention of the people around was immediately focused. It is everyone's nature to watch the excitement, especially when listening to gossip. The bored adventurers even slowed down when they were drinking. That matter. What matter? That's the thing, when you came back, the last Minotaur that escaped was wiped out by you on the 5th floor. Wasn't there a tomato kid at that time? That terribly weak chicken brat was driven to the brink of death by the Minotaur, and was then splashed all over by the stinky blood sprayed out by the monster. Bert unreservedly satirized Belle, who had fled in a hurry, and the uninterrupted output made the white-haired boy hiding in the corner on the other side feel chills all over his body. His hands tightly clutched his thighs, and the unparalleled sense of shame kept attacking his spirit. Shut up, Bert, you've had too much to drink. Ja Reese stopped the other party with a voice. Cut, there's nothing wrong with calling trash trash. Bert slapped the table hard and stood up, slamming back with a face full of disbelief. It can be seen that he drank a lot, and even the eldest brother of the clan talked back. Ja Reese grabbed Bert's head and pushed the guy back on the chair. The severe pain in his head made Bert's consciousness clearer. Chapter 100 Misfortune comes out of your mouth, Althea protects her shortcomings. But on the other hand, although Bert didn't say this to him, Belle still couldn't stand the other party's cynicism. The blood was surging in my head, and I didn't know what I was thinking. Anyway, he ran away from the tavern without even paying for the meal. Althea, who was sitting opposite Saul, caught Belle's figure in her sight. Although it was the first time to see the child's grown-up appearance, there was an inexplicable sense of familiarity, the iconic long hair and a face that was somewhat similar to what he remembered. That kid is Belle. When he came in, the other party was sitting in the corner, and the adventurers around him blocked his figure, so she didn't look over there. It was really hit by Saul, and I really met him when I came out for a meal. But why did he run out suddenly? Could it be that he was escaping orders? September 13th, is wrong, white hair, tomato, low-level adventurers. Bert's voice was quite loud before, so she naturally heard it too. But Althea only listened to it as a pastime at first. As a result, I ate melon and ate myself. The werewolf of the Loki family laughed at his nephew whom he hadn't seen for many years. It was the child entrusted to her care by her sister. It was obviously their mistake that caused the Minotaur to run to the upper floor, but he still taunted the newcomer adventurer without shame. How could he have such a big face? Obviously, Althea still had an indifferent expression before, but immediately changed her face after knowing that the victim was her nephew. It can be said that he was burning with anger, and it was the first time that Saul felt Alcoa's anger so clearly. For shortcoming, almost everyone in Saul's family has this problem. No, that's not a bad thing. Master Saul, I have something to deal with. Alcoa's voice was a little cold, and a strong malice was surging. But anyone with a discerning eye should know what she wants to do. The child already has his own family, so you don't need to do the work of consolation, and do you want to recognize him now? Saul said in a low voice. Not loud, but enough for two people to hear. Alcoa stopped moving, and sat back down with a displeased face. Staring at Bert in the distance with both eyes, the white-haired werewolf who was still interacting with Reese couldn't help but be clever. Just take advantage of the present to be more happy, and I will let you know later that it is the real garbage. In the dead of night, the banquet of the Loki family was coming to an end. Although the drunken relationship among Bert brought some disturbances to the banquet, it did not affect the interest of everyone in the Loki family. No one really took what the other party said to heart. Let alone whether they knew it was Belle who escaped from the tavern earlier. It doesn't matter even if you really know it, Bert said it right, a rookie is a rookie. Even if it becomes a topic of jokes in other people's mouths, they have no ability to resist. Incompetence and rage are useless. If you have the ability, use your fists to regain your dignity. As for the new adventurer who needs to enter the dungeon alone to explore, there is probably no senior in the family who can stand up for him. Not far away, Saul and Algaia stayed in the corner without saying a word and had dinner. Alkia, who stopped his chopsticks early, has been paying attention to the movement of Loki's family, and of course Bert's movement is the main one. Finally, seeing the group of people getting up after eating, Weirfeia's eyes flashed. I'll be away for a while. Well, don't make me wait too long, and remember to disguise yourself well so that no one will discover your identity. Saul took another sip of the fine wine from Sumo's house, and reminded Aldeania with a vague consciousness. In order to stay here for a while after the meal, he specially asked Hill to help him buy a few bottles of Sumo's divine wine to satisfy his appetite. Although Mia got a few eyes from the rich hostess and the drinks she brought, the thick-skinned Saul didn't care at all. The main reason is to spare some time for Althea to deal with her personal affairs. It's definitely not because I was aroused by Freya's wine glutton yesterday. If she didn't vent her anger on her nephew, whom she hadn't seen for a long time, she might not even be able to sleep well tonight. The members of the Loki family didn't go back together, and some people wanted to drink more wine during the banquet. Most of the female members left early in the morning and returned to the family. And Bert, who was already drunk, was naturally the last batch. He was accompanied by several companions. The leaders are LV6 plus Reese and Finn, and Loki has already gone back with the female team. She also wanted to catch up with the bath time with these girls. When the night fell completely, Olaline also became a little quieter. The nocturnal prey gradually approached the hunter's hiding place. Your tone really stinks. Ha! What are you talking about? Wait, who is it? Bert, who was still fighting with his teammates just now, stopped suddenly. Although he drank a lot of wine, it did not affect his keen sense of smell. A group of people followed Bert's line of sight and looked up, only to see a tall figure standing upright on a bungalow next to him. The opponent's whole body was covered by a black robe, and the face of the person under the robe could not be seen at all. Who? Because it was out to drink, some people didn't bring any clothes. However, with the presence of Reese, the LV6 big brother, the members of the Rocky family next to him are not afraid. It's just that they were so drunk that they didn't notice the 4.5 color of Reese's face that gradually became dignified. Obviously the other party just stood there without any movement, but Reese felt a creepy feeling. The man in black took a step forward, and his body seemed to fall uncontrollably. Just before touching the ground, Algoya flipped in the air, barely making any landing sound. Be careful. That guy is not simple. Reese's muscles tensed up. Although there was still a strong smell of alcohol in his mouth, his consciousness was fully awake. Noticing the nervousness of their big brother, the members of the group finally realized the seriousness of the problem, and put on defensive postures one after another. It can be seen from this that these people are well trained. Even if they are not conscious, they respond to Risa's order immediately. More like muscle memory. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories, and never miss out on a great listen.